Well, it looks like I don't have my graphics set up today because I just deleted a bunch of stuff. Sorry about that. Um, Having a working session here today. Primarily focused on setting up some HDRIs, which you can see a preview of here. JD Strider and I try to release one of these every week on Renderosity.com. And it's always a combination of starting with a new source. And by the way, I'm on a real Genesis kick here lately, and I've really been messing around with my Wolfen enhanced Genesis figures, seeing if I can kind of make the body fur do something reasonable. I'm trying to create like a kind of in-between transforming version of the guy, turning into a werewolf. So of course the fur is sized for the full body morph, which is much bigger, than the actual default Genesis character. So just thought maybe there might be like a opportunity to create a preset where it's just starting out. That might be crazy talk. Crazy talk. Anyway, so typically what I do to set these HDRIs up is I look at a one we've already created, and I'll start out with the although, by the way, this is the default right here, and it looks pretty darn good with just like the default settings for a new scene. Everything's about right. I got a specific format that I take these photographs in, and then post-processing. But see right here, like for example, the tree is not perfect, so there's tweaks that need to be made. I'll leave a lot of that to good old JD Strider, since I'm the guy going out and capturing the images. I let him do a lot of the tweaking, and then he does the smart content and really the what I call the boring shite. But even so, I have a good time messing around with the body fur and whatnot. And might as well get rid of the old tail. Yeah. Let's make it render a little bit faster. And I like experimenting firstly with the well, before I get to talking too much smack, let me get in here so I can use the rotation presets that we have on all of ours, which, by the way, you can always expect to get this, and then I don't have to keep spinning the camera, and that's cool. And I can start experimenting with intensities to see what kind of effect we can get from the lighting. Obviously, that's going to take some tweaking right there. Yeah, largely to do with sky size. Another thing I'll sometimes do just to start these off is I'll go with one that I know I took with the same camera, and I'll add that preset, and then I'll simply go in and change the source of the dome file. And these haven't been put in any sort of a final structure yet, so I just go to my downloads where I saved the original work, the original Radiance file, so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. This one's called Lands End. It's actually a little peninsula, which I think is pretty cool. Oh, so I see something wrong right here. We need to have infinite sphere with ground. This is a little change we're going to be making. And then let's go back. I think I'd already done rotation. Let's rotate back to 0. And start from there. And also, HDRs are a particular kind of solution. You can't there's no one size fits all. Every scenario is different. One thing I do love to do is play with the intensity, and you can get really varied results. Environment intensity, there we go. Let's go with like 2. There we go. Quite a bit brighter. Bump it on up even more. Didn't realize it had a limitation on it. We'll take care of that. There we go. Made a little bit too bright. Let's go with 3. And there are plenty of built-in presets as well, such as this. Oh, that looks pretty good. Okay. Not hating any of this. Now, yeah, we definitely like +2 on the depths. Just to see the difference. There's the full reset. And here's +2. I really like +2. Vignetting is kind of cool too. Oh yeah. Okay, so you see this little spot right here where the origin is right under the character's feet. Typically these are designed to use as quick solution environments, you know, for a single character or just a couple characters right at the center of your world, so to speak. And this little coming together here, it makes it rather obvious that it's generated. So ground origin is what we want to play with right here. So we start messing with ground origin, it's going to move that center point, and you can really move it right out of your image. So 150 on that puts it way over here, and then now it's less obvious, you know. So that's the idea. We show these in promos full body because that's, you know, what you're after, to prove that, hey, it actually lines up and it looks good. But most people would actually use a product like this more like this, more kind of zoomed in and sort of as the backdrop for a mid shot maybe. Yeah. And then I would create a custom camera to kind of control my own DOF. Now DOF can be handled with settings applied to the background of the HDRI itself, but personally I always like the control of the camera. So let's call this render cam. Copy active perspective. Turn this off just for a second. Then we will I always like to put a little Dutch tilt on that camera when it's really close up. Spin around here so we can see when we turn on the depth of field that it's where it needs to be. And sometimes, you know, Dastudio tries to help you here, but lots of times you really need to adjust this manually. Man, his face is jacked up. There we go. And there, and then of course we want to turn off the headlamp because that can create issues where you get extra shiny stuff. Man, that's a really interesting looking shot of his mug there. This might be an interesting angle too. Just, I mean, I think in terms of making little strips, whether I make them or not for the promos, I want to show like something happening. And this is a guy about to transform into a werewolf. And so, you know, if I were to kind of give you an illustration here of how that would go. Upper lower lips. These are just the lip morphs that I sort of left on because I'm working with another. Let's take this off and let's just go currently used. Because I've already turned the other two off, I see what's up. So there is a there we go. That's the original wolf and morph. Turns him like that. And then there's also a wolf and enhanced morph, which takes it even further. So just for the basic transformation, I might do something about like that, like kind of a dog boy thing. Hey, dog boy. Create, just call this one profile camera. Do the same setup as before. It's a really cold day in North Carolina, guys. Been doing my workouts at home with the treadmill. Today's a rest day, thank God. I worked so hard yesterday. Kind of had a little bit of back pain. So today, definitely rest is called for. Hopefully I'll get one more day in before heading off to Nashville for my album recording. Okay, starting the stream. Trying to set up, share my account out. Let's see what's going on here. Is it going to show me my live stream? It says live now. There we go. I'll just share this on the Facebook fan page and on I only have 15 members, so it's rare that we get more than 3 or 4 people in the live stream, but you know, I do it. Mostly it's just for my own keeping up of content, you know, and display capture, video capture. Okay. So that's getting pretty interesting right there. Man, Genesis is still such a cool character, and the fact that you can do so much with it. Just to give you kind of a shakedown of what I've done here, this is my custom character of myself, created with FaceGen, and now if I critique the look of it here, he's got like a bit of shininess that I kind of want to get rid of a little bit. So if I can do that, that would be cool. But anyway, this is the skin texture of myself, created from FaceGen, and the eyes are actually from Wolfen, the teeth and the tongue and the mouth are from Wolfen, the nails on the fingers are from Wolfen Enhanced. So that's just the shakedown. And of course, the wild hair is included with the Genesis character for free. This is the Mr. Hyde shorts, which works so well for any kind of transformational scene. So real cool stuff. So we're going to go into surfaces real quick, and we're going to highlight, hopefully we're going to highlight Wolfen. I don't know what's going on here. My mouse is wanting to hang on me. So we're going to just look for gloss, and well, glossy reflexivity is already down. Glossiness, let's turn that down a little bit and see what that does. And it looks like that kind of did what we were wanting to. Roughness, turning roughness up, I believe, will also decrease the shininess. That wasn't even anybody. Something just fell that someone had set up over there. Okay, it's still a little bit reflective. Let's type in, if we turn glossy way up. Just reflectivity. Let's turn that down. That's close enough for rock and roll right there. Tweak the position. Okay. I'm going to call that good enough to render right there. I'm going to save this. And you know, I like this. I'll tell you what else I'm going to do. There's some little tweaks to our material right there. I'm going to go into the Wolf. I save a lot of development folders here. The Wolfen Enhanced product doesn't even have a materials folder because you don't need it. It's designed just to load him. But for customization purposes, I'm going to create a material here with everything I've got right there. And I'm just going to call it Transformation. And I'm going to just keep everything. Yeah. Okay. So we got this set up. Transformation male. About just under 4K. Going to give it 400 cycles, or 400 seconds, if you will, which is like, I don't know, not a long time. Let's see what that is. I don't heart math, so we got 400 divided by 60, so it's like 6.5 minutes. Now, sometimes, you know, it'll just keep on going, and I don't quite know what is the cause of that. I need to ask some of my betters on that. It seems like it sometimes hinges on this button right here, render quality enable, to force the render quality. Minimum samples I know can affect that. Maximum samples I don't think. I don't know. Let's try this. Let's take that down to 1,000 and see what happens. That might have to do with it. But I'm always curious what causes that. So I'm going to hit render on that, and we're going to let that rock and roll. Somebody messed up my beautiful composition by closing the lid on my laptop here. See, and now I've got this pop-up tent behind me. Come on, man, you're just messing with my serenity. Very, very excited to be going to Nashville in 2 more days to do my album. You guys have heard me talking about this. It's a bucket list kind of thing. Got the money sent. Everything is arranged. We've done the initial pass of notes on the new arrangements for the songs for the Nashville version. And going to go up, maybe cut some quick guide tracks Friday night, or at least talk it over with the band director, and then go in the next day, and then 2 4-hour sessions on Saturday. Knock out hopefully 8 to 10 songs. Hopefully, well, for sure, surely 8, but hopefully I'm hoping for 10. So that'll be basically it for all the bass recordings for my album. Then I would bring that back. There might be a few overdubs here and there, but mainly just working on my vocals and my backing vocals here locally. I'll cut what's called scratch tracks up there live, which basically just means that, you know, I'll be in the room and making sure that everything with the singing works okay with kind of slight changes here that tunes. So I've been on a real Genesis kick here, as I might have mentioned. When you see products that you used to want to purchase going for like 37 cents for this or that deal, it's kind of hard to pass that up, and I don't often. So I'm kind of a completist too, which is kind of ridiculous, but it's just the truth. Yeah, gonna miss Gonna miss the old render server. My render server time was good. I should do a video on that, actually, on my findings about that. I mean, it was good. There are some caveats, but I would recommend it for sure if you have 50 bucks to spare and you want to be able to build a lot of scenes and have the rendering handled, off of your machine. Not a bad deal. The professionalism of the service is a little bit, it's not quite like to Microsoft standards, so to speak, or professional hosting standards as far as the uptime and turnaround time when something goes wrong. At the end of the day, it is just a guy offering this service. But I mean, for me, that I felt like it was maybe up 90% of the time. Maybe there were 10% of the time. There was 10% of the time that I tried to use it, and for whatever reason, it was not able to. Right, the job just randomly got rejected, or it seemed to go up and it didn't show up on the server side. So stuff like that happens, I guess. But for me, the price was still pretty darn good, and I'm glad that I did it, and I will do it again. But what I'll do this time is I'll have scenes built up, ready to render, so I can just, I'll have a scene, every scene will have like 4 or 5 cameras, and when I'm ready to send it up, and I'll do test renders, when I'm ready to send it up to render it in big size, I will have already checked it locally to make sure that I'm not just doing tests. These are all like renders that I'm going to be keeping pretty much, and I'll send it up, and then I'll send the next camera, the next camera, the next camera, because once you send the files for the scene, you can send changes and other cameras up at no cost. It's like it happens in like a minute. So that's how you would really maximize that. I'd still recommend the no priority lowest price option, which is 50 bucks. You can spend up to 100 bucks a month on that. Because there's not enough people using it right now for the priority to be a big issue, unless you just really got to have it right now. Most people are accustomed to setting things to render and walking away for up to a day, or even just at least an hour. Although in the case of this, I am just going to be letting these run for 6-7 minutes. Right now we're at 4 minutes, so I know if it keeps on going, and I know it will, if it keeps on going, doesn't matter. It's just going to get better. Just for the purposes of being able to scope it out and make sure everything worked, I can just let it stop it at 7 minutes, for example. I'm downloading more HDRI images right now that with my particular camera you have to transfer to the phone to get them sent to your PC to turn into a HDRI. I have an app that lets me take like 3 to 6 photos of a given scene with my 360 camera. And in combination with Photoshop, that is how I generate the HDRI images. Could I get you to turn that light off on the way out, please? You ain't got to go home, but you can't stay here. Yeah, I'm probably overdue even for a reboot, because this is definitely taxing this machine. It's I find my mouse screaming, kind of sticking a little bit there. I can close that for now, free up a little bit of memories. Oh, it looks cooler over here because it's like I'm looking at the render. I just wish that I could crop my composition a little more easily. Oh, this is like watching paint dry. Ah, gotta take this, guys. Hi, this is Brent Bowers. Hey, Renee.